At 11:45 p.m., the owner of the Ship and Anchor pub in Liverpool stood on a chair and made an announcement that would make grown men cry. Ladies and gentlemen, these two lads came in here tonight just wanting a quiet pint, dead tired, exhausted. They could have said no to what I'm about to ask. Nobody would have blamed them, but they didn't say no. They said yes. So I want you to remember this night for the rest of your lives, because you're about to experience something that will never happen again. The 23 people in the pub looked up from their drinks, confused, curious. What was Thomas going on about? Then two men stood up from a corner table, baseball caps, plain jackets, trying to be invisible. But when they took off their caps, the room gasped. Paul McCartney and John Lennon, in a tiny Liverpool pub, at midnight on a Tuesday, about to play music for 23 strangers who just wanted to finish their pints and go home. What happened in the next 3 hours would become the most treasured secret in Liverpool. A story passed down, whispered, shared only with people who understood that some moments are too sacred for the world. This is that story. November 21st, 1967, Liverpool, 10 p.m. Paul and John had been in the studio for 18 hours straight, working on what would become the White Album. Grueling, intense, perfect take after perfect take. George Martin pushing them, themselves pushing each other. The creative process at its most exhausting. By 10 p.m. they were done, completely done. Brains fried, voices raw, just wanted to go home, sleep, not think about music for 12 hours. But they were wired, too tired to sleep. That strange, exhausted energy where your body wants to collapse but your mind won't shut off. They needed to decompress, to transition from Beatles mode to human mode, to have a drink and remember what it felt like to be regular people. Fancy a pint? Paul asked as they walked to the car. God, yes, John replied. Somewhere quiet, somewhere nobody knows us. Good luck with that in Liverpool. There's got to be somewhere. Some tiny pub off the main streets where people are too busy with their own lives to care about Beatles. They drove around, looking, rejecting the obvious places. Too big, too crowded, too likely to be recognized. Then they saw it, the Ship and Anchor. Tiny, tucked on a side street, dim windows. Looked like the kind of place where dock workers and pensioners drank in peace. That one, John said. That's perfect. They parked, put on baseball caps, zipped up their jackets, tried to look like regular 20-somethings just wanting a beer. Walked in. The pub was exactly what they'd hoped for. Small, maybe 30 feet wide, bar on one side, tables on the other, a handful of people, quiet conversations, darts in the corner, the comfortable silence of a neighborhood pub where everyone knew everyone and strangers were rare but welcome. They walked to the bar, ordered 2 pints. The bartender, a man in his 50s with kind eyes and a Liverpool accent, thick as fog, poured them without really looking up. That'll be 3 shillings. Paul paid. They took their beers, found a corner table, sat down, breathed, finally. Just 2 guys having a beer. No cameras, no screaming, no performance. Just peace. For 20 minutes it worked. They drank, talked about nothing, about everything, about how tired they were, about whether the new album would be any good, about normal stuff, friend stuff, not Beatles stuff. Then the bartender walked over, wiping a glass, looking at them closely, really looking. I know you, he said quietly. Paul and John tensed. Here it comes. The recognition, the request, the end of peace. You're Paul McCartney and John Lennon. Not a question, a statement. They couldn't deny it. This man knew. Yeah, Paul admitted. We are, but please, we're just here for a quiet drink. We're exhausted. We just wanted... I know, the man interrupted gently. I can see it in your faces. You're knackered. Don't worry. I won't make a scene. Won't tell anyone. You can drink in peace. He turned to leave, then stopped, turned back. My name's Thomas. I own this place. Have for 20 years. And I just want to say, before I leave you alone, thank you for the music. My daughter, she's 12, loves you boys. Your songs got her through some hard times last year. So thank you. That's all. Enjoy your pints. He walked away, back to the bar, true to his word, Didn't announce them, didn't make a fuss, just let them be. Paul looked at John. Nice man. Very nice. Rare. They kept drinking, relaxing. The exhaustion was fading, being replaced by that pleasant tiredness that comes after good work and cold beer. They were almost ready to leave, almost ready to go home and sleep. Then Thomas came back over, more hesitant this time, nervous. I'm sorry, I know I said I'd leave you alone, and I meant it, but I need to ask you something. And you can say no, I'll completely understand. Won't be offended, but I have to ask because if I don't, I'll regret it forever. What is it? Paul asked. Thomas took a breath. My daughter, Emma. She's 12. She's sick. Has been for 6 months. Leukemia. She's at home right now, in bed, probably asleep, but tomorrow's her birthday, and she's been so scared, so sad, and she loves you boys. Your music is the only thing that makes her smile anymore. And I was thinking, what if you could sing for her? Just one song? I could ring home, wake her up, put you on the phone, just one song. It would mean everything to her, to me. But if you can't, if you're too tired, I understand. It's too much to ask. I'm sorry. He was almost crying. This father, this man who'd been kind to them, asking for something impossible, but completely reasonable. One song for his dying daughter. Paul looked at John, saw his own thoughts reflected. They were exhausted. They just wanted peace. They could say no. Thomas would understand. Nobody would blame them, but they couldn't say no. How do you say no to that? How do you say no to a father asking for one song for his dying 12-year-old daughter? Of course, Paul said quietly. Of course we'll sing for her. Thomas's face crumpled. Relief, gratitude, overwhelming emotion. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll ring home. Get my wife to wake Emma. Just give me a moment. He rushed to the phone behind the bar and made the call. Paul and John could hear him. Marie, wake Emma. I know she's sleeping, but trust me. Wake her. Tell her Paul and John are going to sing for her. Yes, really, yes, I'm serious. Just wake her. He came back. She's waking up. My wife's getting her to the phone. Just a minute. The pub had gone quiet. The other patrons had figured out what was happening. Who was at that corner table? What Thomas had asked. They watched, silent, respectful, understanding they were witnessing something sacred. Thomas held out the phone. She's on. She's awake. Paul took the phone. Hello? Emma. A small voice, sleepy, confused. Hello? Emma, my name is Paul. Paul McCartney, and I'm here with John Lennon. Your dad told us it's your birthday tomorrow. We wanted to wish you happy birthday and sing you a song. Would that be okay? Silence, then crying, happy crying, overwhelmed crying. Is this real? Are you really Paul McCartney? I'm really Paul McCartney, and John's right here. Say hello, John. John leaned in. Hello, Emma. Your dad says you're a big fan. That means a lot to us. More crying, joy crying. I can't believe this is happening. It's happening, Paul said gently. Now, what song would you like us to sing? All You Need Is Love. That's my favorite. It makes me feel better when I'm scared. Paul looked at John, nodded. All You Need Is Love it is. Ready, John? They sang, right there, in the pub, over the phone, to a dying 12-year-old girl in her bed at home, sang like it was the most important performance of their lives. Because it was. The pub listened. 23 people, silent, many crying, watching two of the most famous musicians in the world sing to one little girl who couldn't be there. When they finished, Emma was sobbing. Thank you so much. That was the best birthday present ever. You're very welcome, Emma, Paul said. Stay strong, keep fighting, and keep listening to music. It helps, trust me. I will, I promise. Paul handed the phone back to Thomas. Thomas was openly crying. Thank you. You have no idea what that meant, what it means. It was our pleasure, John said. Really, thank you for asking. Thomas wiped his face, started to walk back to the bar, then stopped, looked at the other patrons. They were all staring at Paul and John, moved, crying, Understanding they'd witnessed something profound, Thomas made a decision. He walked back to Paul and John. I know this is too much. I know you're tired, but would you play for everyone here? Just a song or two? These are good people. My regulars. They've been coming here for years. They'd never forget it. But if you can't, I understand. You've already done more than enough. Paul and John looked at each other. They were exhausted. They just wanted a quiet drink. But something had shifted. They'd sung for Emma, broken the seal, and now there were 23 people looking at them with hope and longing and the desire to be part of something special. "Do you have guitars here?" John asked. Thomas's face lit up. "We have two, for open mic nights. They're not great, but they'll work," Paul said. "Let's do it." Thomas rushed to get the guitars. The pub erupted. Not loud, not screaming, just excited murmuring, smiling, disbelief. This was happening. Paul McCartney and John Lennon were about to play a private concert in the Ship and Anchor. Thomas brought the guitars, battered, out of tune, but functional. Paul and John tuned them quickly, positioned themselves on stools near the bar. Everyone gathered around, close, intimate, like a living room performance. "What do you want to hear, Ranar?" Paul asked. "Yesterday," someone called. They played Yesterday. Then Let It Be. Then In My Life. Song after song. The 23 people sang along. Not loud, respectful, just being part of it. Being there. Being witnesses. An elderly woman, maybe 80, sat in the front, tears streaming down her face. After In My Life, she raised her hand, hesitant. "Yes, love?" Paul said. "Could you play When I'm 64? That's my age, 64. And that song makes me feel seen, like I still matter." Paul smiled. "For you? Absolutely." They played it. Directly to her, she cried through the whole thing. Happy tears, seen tears, mattered tears. A young couple, maybe 25, sat holding hands. After several songs, the man worked up courage. "We're getting married next month. All You Need Is Love is our song. Could you play it?" John grinned. "Emma's favorite too." "Good choice. Here's to love and marriage and all that terrifying, wonderful stuff." They played it. The couple danced, right there, in the tiny pub, in front of two Beatles. Their first dance before they were even married. The hours slipped by. Midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. They kept playing, kept taking requests, kept connecting with these 23 strangers who just wanted to finish their pints and had gotten something extraordinary instead. At 3 a.m., they finally stopped. Exhausted, really exhausted now. Hands hurting, voices raw, but happy, deeply happy. This had been special, had meant something. Thomas came over. "I don't know how to thank you. You've given us a gift, a memory, something we'll carry forever." "Thank you for asking," Paul said. "Thank you for your daughter, for reminding us why we make music, not for stadiums, for moments like this." "How is Emma?" John asked. "Really?" Thomas's smile faded. "She's got maybe 6 months, maybe less. We're making the most of it. Tonight helped. You helped." Paul hugged him, just hugged him. This stranger, this father, this man who'd been brave enough to ask. They left at 3:30 a.m., walked to their car, sat there for a moment, processing. "We should have just gone home," John said, "but we didn't." "No, we didn't, and I'm glad." "Me too." They drove home, exhausted but lighter, reminded of something they'd almost forgotten. That fame wasn't the point. The music wasn't even the point. The connection was the point. The moments, the people, the humanity. Emma died 4 months later, March 1968. At her funeral, Thomas played All You Need Is Love, the recording from that night. Paul and John singing to her over the phone. It was the last song, the goodbye song. The 23 people from the Ship and Anchor all attended, sat together, a family formed by one unexpected night. They never spoke about it publicly, never sold the story, never told reporters. It was theirs, private, sacred. The Ship and Anchor closed in 1995. Thomas retired. But before he locked the doors for the last time, He held one final night, invited the survivors from that night. 15 people came. They brought guitars, played the same songs, sang together, cried together, remembered. Thomas died in 2006. At his funeral, his wife Marie told the story, finally, publicly, because Thomas was gone and the story deserved to be known. Paul and John didn't have to say yes, Marie said. They were exhausted. They'd given everything that day, but they said yes anyway, for Emma, for the people in that pub, because that's who they were when nobody was watching. Kind, generous, human. And my daughter died happy because of them. We all lived richer because of them. That's their real legacy, not the hits, the kindness. Paul heard about Thomas's death, sent flowers, and a note. Thomas gave us a gift that night, reminded us why any of this mattered. Thank you. Rest well. Give Emma our love. November 21st, 1967. Two exhausted Beatles walked into a pub wanting a quiet drink. Walked out at 3:30 a.m., having played a private concert for 23 strangers and one dying girl. They got no press, no publicity, no credit. Just the knowledge that they'd made people happy, that they'd been there when someone needed them, that they'd said yes when they could have said no. That's the choice that matters. Not the fame, the yes, the staying, the singing when you're too tired to sing, the kindness when it's easier to leave. Paul and John chose kindness, and 23 people never forgot.